We look at this life and we see a life that has been a life of love observed, of love embodied, of love expressed in the thousands of technical and compassionate moments of care. And finally, a love received from her colleagues who loved her as a special person in their lives. Please give us the gift of these moments of full attention, of full consciousness, of full presence in this sacred moment of remembrance. We know this is the prayer you have already answered by gathering us. And so we say thank you. Amen.
A very befitting reading from the Holy Scriptures for Janice, Proverbs 31. An excellent woman, one who is spiritual, capable, intelligent, and virtuous. Who is he? Who can find her? Her value is more precious than jewels, and her worth is far above rubies and pearls. The heart of her husband trusts in her with secure confidence, and he will have no lack of gain. She comforts, she encourages, and does him only good and not evil all the days of her life. She looks for wool and flax, and works with willing hands in delight. She is like the merchant ships, abounding with treasure. She brings her house food from far away. She rises also while it is still night, and gives food to her house, and assigns tasks to her maids. She considers a field before she buys it, and with her profits, she fruitfully plants vines in her vineyard. She equips herself with strength, spiritual, mental, and physical fitness for her God-given task, and makes her arms strong. She sees that her gain is good. Her lamp does not go out, but it burns continually through the night. She is prepared for whatever lies ahead. She stretches out her hand to the distaff, and her hand holds the spindle. She opens and extends her hand to the poor, and she reaches out her filled hands to the needy. She does not fear the snow from her house, for all of her house are clothed with beautiful scarlet. She makes for herself coverlets, cushions, and rugs of tapestry. Her clothing is linen, pure and fine and purple. Her husband is known in the city's gates when he sits among the elders of the land. She makes fine garments and sells them, and supplies sashes to the merchants. Strength and dignity are her clothing, and her position is strong and secure. And she smiles at the future, knowing that she and her family are prepared. She opens her mouth in skillful and godly wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue, good counsel and instruction. She looks well to how things go in her house, and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children rise up and call her blessed, happy, prosperous, to be admired. Her husband also, he praises her by saying, many daughters have done nobly and well, with the strength of character that is steadfast in goodness. But you, Janice, you excel them all. God bless you.
For the litany of remembrance, I invite you to turn to the insert in your program and say aloud with me the words in bold in unison. In the rising of the sun and in its going down,
we remember Janice.
In the blowing
Janice.
In the opening of buds and in the rebirth of spring.
We remember Janice.
In the blueness of the sky and in the warmth of summer.
We remember Janice.
In the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of fall.
We remember Janice.
In the beginning of the year and when it ends.
We remember Janice.
When we are weary and in need of strength.
We remember Janice.
When we are lost and sick at heart.
We remember Janice.
When we have joys that we yearn to share.
We remember Janice.
So long as we live, she too shall live. For
She is now a part of us.
as we remember her. Amen.
Amen.
Morning. So I'm going to try not to struggle through this. when Kiki asked me to say a few words, I debated on whether to do that or whether to just be part of the service. But I decided that I didn't want to say a few words just because of this audience that I look out here today. My name is Deb Harding, and I am the Chief Nursing Officer for the Winston-Salem campus. But before I was Deb Harding in the Chief Nursing Officer position here, I was Deb Harding, who was a staff nurse that came here as a new grad in 1981. And Janice was already here, as were her Golden Girl friends. And where are they? I see Sue, I see Val.
No. Mel is up.
Where?
Mel.
I can't see. So they were a very important fixture here before I ever got here. I remember Janice, as I was a staff nurse, I traveled up to ICU. I'm an old dialysis nurse by clinical background, and I would travel to the units to provide care. This was when all of ICU was located in the Reynolds Tower, 4th floor. We had A unit, we had B unit, we had C unit. Janice was there. And when we moved to the 4B, which was the new and improved, lovely unit in Kepler, there was Janice leading her team to open that unit. She has been a fixture here. She has had such influence, not only on the profession of nursing and clinical care here, but all of you who are here representing the different teams and the different patients and the families. I wanted to read a little bit about the role of a nurse manager, if you'll just bear with me for a moment, because I want to be sure that we all understand that role here and the importance of that role here. Janice was in that role for close to 30 years, I believe. The definition of a nurse manager from the American Organization of Nurse Executives is this: nurse managers are nurse leaders who have 24-hour accountability and responsibility for direct care in units or units. They are the vital link between the administrative strategic plan and the point of care. The nurse manager is responsible for creating safe, healthy environments that support the work of the healthcare team and contribute to patient engagement. The role is influential in creating a professional environment and fostering a culture where interdisciplinary team members are able to contribute to optimal patient outcomes and grow professionally. So within that definition, there is a framework of nurse management and nurse leadership that really has to do with what we call the science of that role, the science of leadership, which is perhaps what we might think about the more mundane aspects of leadership roles: budget, finance, sometimes process improvement, performance management, things like that. There's also the other domain within that framework around self-growth and development, which Janice certainly was a spokesperson for and a role model for. So how do we continue as leaders to engage ourselves in our journey of our own growth and development? But what speaks to me most when I think of Janice and the framework of nurse management and leadership is the art of the leader. And within the art of the leader, there are many competencies around influencing, mentorship, inspiring others to grow and develop, and that was Janice. I had the privilege of working side by side with her. I had the privilege of being a peer with her as a staff nurse, a peer with her as a clinical nurse manager. I had the honor of her reporting to me when I was the director of critical care. I saw how she interacted with her colleagues, her physician leaders, the entire team. I learned a lot from her. Many of you have heard me say, if you've heard me talk before, my dad, who's a retired microbiologist, one of the things that I learned from him and that I carry to this day is the joy in the work that we do. And even through tough times, and certainly in healthcare, we are all faced with challenges. I've never had a day that I have not wanted to come to work. And I choose to surround myself with individuals that are like-minded. And Janice was certainly one of those people. Regardless of where I was in my journey, regardless of where others were in theirs, Janice was always one of those rocks that we looked to for comfort, for our inspiration and our growth. I also reflect back on Janice's influence in many of the leaders that we have in our organization today. I was, especially when the time of remembrance, the phrase "in the opening of buds" and the rebirth of spring. I think of all the new nurses that came into this profession, bright-eyed, eager, committed, and starry-eyed. And Janice perpetuated that in many of these individuals, and many of these nurses are leaders within this organization today, or they've left us to be leaders elsewhere. And if I think about her greatest gift and contribution to our profession and to this organization, that is her legacy. The influence that she had on growth in others, and others choosing to be leaders in a very, very challenging time. So I'm honored to be here. Very appreciative that you all shared Janice with us for all of these years. She was a gift to many. Thank you.
My name is Shane Martin. I'm a leader in critical care, and I had the honor to work with Janice for over 10 years, and worked with her before that, even before being in a leadership position. And I really valued those years for so many different reasons. Janice was amazing at getting things done. She was constantly so able to make improvements, but more importantly, she was an advocate for her patients, and so much so an advocate for her nurses. And that was always an unbelievably special part of her. A couple of things stood out when I was thinking about saying a few words that through the entire time that I knew her really stood out about Janice. And one of those was she never was without a smile on her face. No matter how difficult the situation, she had a positive thing to say, a way of spinning it to something a whole lot better than it was. And that's really inspiring given the challenges that we all work in on a regular basis. The other aspect that all constantly came forward was that she generated relationships with physicians in ways that was surprising at times, because she, in her leadership position, she interacted with a lot of different physician leaders and never hesitated to take on even the most difficult of conversations. We would be talking about a situation that would come up, and I'd say, yes, I'll go ahead, I'll reach out to that person and we'll work through it. Just don't need to. I already took that on and took care of that. Those of you that interact, that know her, know that some interactions, and then she definitely would take care of it in an extremely respectful and productive way. And I always, again, stood out with it. But, so thank you all very much for the opportunity to say some kind words. Truly a wonderful one.
Hello everyone, my name is PJ Miller, and I'd like to say a few words about Janice, and actually everything that's been said so far perfectly flows into the words that I had written down to talk about Janice, both the rocks and the flowers, and I hope that what I say can do some justice. I had the pleasure to meet Janice when I was a brand new, very nervous hematology oncology fellow, and looking back, she was always an excellent crutch for support, even starting back then in my early time here. As I continued my training and transitioned into critical care medicine, and ultimately decided to stay on board and further transitioning into medical director of the oncology ICU, Janice had served as a crutch of support each and every step of the way. We worked closely together, and I couldn't have been more thankful for every ounce of support that she provided. And over the past several weeks, I've been thinking long and hard how best to describe Janice. And after many internal monologue conversations, and probably several external monologue conversations that should have been internal monologue conversations, these conversations with myself kept bringing me back to a rose. And for right now, I want everyone to think in their mind's of a rose and just think what part of that rose best represents Janice to you. Now I challenge you to think past your initial thoughts and follow me down a little path. So it is not the color or the smell of the rose. It is not the petals or the leaves that breathe life into the plant or our world. In fact, in my mind, none of those aspects truly represent Janice. It's not the stem or the branches that help support the flower. In truth, it's not even the shrub or the roots that provide support for the remainder of the plant. Some are probably left thinking in the room, all that's left are the thorns. Truly, Janice has never been a thorn in my side. Although, oftentimes in the morning, it was, PJ, let me just tell you something. Can any of those things truly represent Janice? And I still don't feel that's very accurate. But when I think of Janice, I still think of this rose and of a rose plant. But it's not a rose in a vase. It's not a rose in a well-kept garden. I like to think of a rose plant that is growing out of a crevice in a rock. A crevice that is just deep enough to encase and protect a determined seed. This is a life-saving oasis. A crevice that serves as a refuge to provide just enough support for something to grow into something beautiful. Several years ago, when the medical oncology ICU was still just an idea, Janice was this crevice within the rock. She saw beauty in the idea and her devout faith that developing a safe haven for virtually the sickest cancer patients in the world was desperately needed. Janice helped to create an oasis from which the oncology ICU would grow and develop from. Because of this, it has grown, and it has flourished, and it has become something beautiful. In the oncology ICU, because of the work of Janice, oftentimes we give hope when virtually all hope is lost. Even if that hope is the staff providing the support to the patients and the families that you are not alone. Everyone in this room that works in our unit impacts the lives of more people than you would ever imagine. We have cured, we have treated, and we have cried over many of our patients. Some of our patients continue to improve and are able to get back out into the clinic and receive their outpatient regimens. However, although we do not cure everyone, the positive impact that everyone in this room has, every member of our team has on the lives of our patients is palpable. Because of that hard work, our patients have survived to spend additional quality time with their families. They've lived to their next anniversary, their child's wedding, their grandchild's birth. You help provide memories for families that will continue to live on in their minds far longer than you will ever imagine. You have helped grow the unit into a place where compassion is maximized and suffering is eliminated. Even when death is inevitable, those patients are helped at a point in their lives where many others would shy away. And I truly believe that none of this would be possible without Janice. Janice served as that oasis for the development of a new specialty to help some of the sickest patients alive. And that will be the lasting memory that I have of Janice. So let's think again about that rose for a minute. Our patients represent the rose flowers, and the leaves are the families. The thorns are the continued challenges that we identify how best to take care of this patient population. The stems are our patient rooms, and the shrub is our entire intensive care unit. The staff, every single one of you, are the roots that provide support and healing nutrients to the remainder of the plant. You are the roots that are embedded in that single crevice, having grown within an oasis within a rock, which is only possible because of Janice. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Bob Draughn. I'm the director of the transplant program. Sorry if I'm underdressed for this occasion. On behalf of the transplant program, I would like to express my sincerest and heartfelt condolences to Janice Draughn. I only knew Janice in a professional role, and I would like to speak about her from this perspective. I've been here for 18 years, and Janice was always our nurse manager. And I don't know if it's because she really wanted to be nurse manager of transplant or because no one else would take it. Most of our interactions usually had to do with me complaining about something. And she was a great listener, arbitrator, and friend. I think that it is safe to say that we are all better people for knowing Janice. Thomas Edison once said that opportunity is missed by most people because it is dressed in overalls and looks like work. Janice rarely missed an opportunity in life because she was not afraid of getting involved and doing the requisite work, even when she was sick and not feeling well. She did not bring her illness to work, and she did not hide behind her or use it as a crutch. Her work ethic was unsurpassed, and she epitomized what is heroic and important in life. She did not have any vices, and the words that describe the finest of humankind applied to her: courage, honesty, tenacity, dignity, grace, humility, and generosity of spirit. She taught us by example the simplicity of seeking truth in work and in life. She was a woman of depth, intelligence, and wisdom. She was a consummate mentor and led by inspiration rather than intimidation, and by action rather than words. She was an extraordinary human being, full of affection, humor, goodwill, and insight. There was something regal about her presence, her quiet dignity, her consistency, determination, and steadfast resolve. However, one of her greatest qualities was her ability to make any person feel as though he or she was the most special person in the world and her closest friend. Her legacy is one of integrity, consistency, strength, and a remarkable sense of the moment. She embraced the values of family, hard work, and friendship with sincerity and enthusiasm. She demonstrated every day the golden rule that binds us to treat every other human being with respect, love, and kindness as we ourselves expect to be treated. We are comforted with the knowledge that she is no longer suffering, and regret that we will no longer see her smile or hear her laugh. Thank you.
Trying to get through this. First of all, on behalf of our family, I would like to thank you, Judy, for being there and being here today. Thank you for all the food, calls, texts, cards, outpouring love that you've shown us. I don't know how to put it everywhere. Mom was one of a kind. She loved unconditionally. And if she felt strongly about something, you knew it. She lived each day in the present. And even more so over the past few years. Rarely did you hear her complain. She saw the positive in everything, and she fought she wanted everyone around her to do the same. Nursing was her passion. I can't count the number of people who have told me, your mom hired me, took a chance on me, mentored me, supported me, took care of me, taught me, and I loved her as a manager. She was a true inspiration to so many, including Dana and myself. Growing up, we watched her work long hours at the hospital, go to teach 1 to 2 nights a week at the local community college, because she did the LPN program there, and be there for any person in the community that needed their blood pressure checked late at night because they just weren't feeling so good. She tirelessly devoted her time to others. Then years later, much to her surprise, Dana and I both chose nursing as our careers. Or should I say nursing chose us. Mom's influence was fierce. She mentored many students, new nurses, current staff trying to hit their career milestones, and advancing leaders. Her goal was for everyone to be successful. I found a quote about leadership that was, "True leaders understand that leadership is not about them, but those that they serve." To her staff, colleagues, doctors she worked with, friends, she loved you all so very much. She was devoted to this institution for over 39 years and a manager for nearly 30. There better not be one cross word said about the Baptists, or you are going to get a lecture. In closing, I'm going to repeat some scripture that was already read. Proverbs 31, I just chose the verses 26 through 31. She speaks with wisdom and faith. Instruction is on her tongue. She watches over the affairs of her household. Her children arise and call her blessed. Her husband also. He praises her. Many women do noble things, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceptive, and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Honor her for all her hands have done, and let her works praise her in the city gates. Her body was tired, but I can't begin to fathom the impact my mom had on this world. I have assurance that she is suffering no more and watching over all of us like she always has. She left her imprint in all of us to carry with us each day. May we strive to be more kind, build each other up, live in the moment, and love each other fiercely, because that's what she would do. Thank you.
I invite you to remain seated for this benediction and for the postlude that will follow. Let us receive now this benediction. Still now we feel the cold bite of death and separation, but soon now, soon, the days of resurrection will be upon us. And we will all get up like family that's been on a good night's sleep. We'll get up and gather as family around the breakfast table and share our stories and laugh as people do who have no fears, only thanksgivings. We will gather at table and our cups will overflow with the goodness of togetherness. So prepare to go now. Be grateful recipients of Janice's gift. Be overflowing with love. Be present with humanity. Be good stewards of all she has given you. Jesus said, the kingdom of God is within you. Jesus said, you are the light of the world. Go now. Use your gift so that in some other holy hour, others will gather around your life and find reason to say, thanks be to God. Amen.
Friends, thank you for taking time and sharing in the love and the memory of our beloved sibling, sister, friend, colleague. Right outside of the doors, there is a poster that it's a butterfly that was designed by one of Janice's unit chaplains. And that is the registry. If you have not had an opportunity to sign, please do so on your way out. Go in peace. Thank you.